YouTube? It's Michael from Asymmetrical Preparedness. Today's video is prepping, how to get started. It's actually really easy to get started prepping. All you have to do is do it. Make the decision. If you're watching channels like mine, you already took the first step. That's good. At least you know now how important it is to be a prepper or to be prepared. You have a baseline of being awake as to the need to be prepared. So that's the very first step. And watch channels like mine and other channels. There's a lot of good prepper channels out there. Watch them, learn the skills. But one thing is, a lot of people that, hopefully, most people that do prepper channels are seasoned preppers. Okay? Here, let me adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. So don't get overwhelmed by all the things that we're talking about. Just take off a little bit at a time. And where I would get started, the very first physical prep I buy would just be simple: food and water. Water is easy. So if you drink, if you have soda bottles, whether they are juice bottles, whether they be small or the 2-liter bottles, things like that, just save them when you're done using them. Sanitize them really well, and then fill them with water from your tap. It's simple. Best thing you do is if you live in, if you're on city water, filter it. So you're putting filtered water in there, so you know you got good quality water. And then fill it. What I do is I fill it all the way up to the top. And you know how water, when you get to the top, it has that little bubble on the top. It's like the positive, the pressure holding that the little, the bubble on the top of the water. You know what I'm talking about. I get that little bubble, and then I put the lid on, so it's full as I can possibly get it. So there's as few or as little air in there as possible. And then just set it aside. Whenever you get one of those bottles, just do that. And if you're worried about where to store it, where to keep it, I have a video on that. Check out that video on food storage. Where do I put it all? Check that out. That's some good ideas for what you do when you start getting enough stuff where you have to start worrying about that. Second off, food. It's real easy. Just start watching some of my budget prepping videos, my $10 prep videos, stuff like that. Start off small. And it's best, even if you have money or you can afford to buy more, just start small. Start simple. Start with what you eat, but try to get the version of what you eat in something that is storable for a longer period of time. So, canned goods, dry goods, stuff like that are good. Canned goods are heavy, yes, but you may not have to worry about that as much. So, they're a good option along with everything else. Whoa. Hello, sorry, technical difficulties. Just a sec. Okay, sorry about those technical difficulties. My camera mount just fell off my windshield, so hopefully this time it'll stay. Okay, even if you have the means to buy more, financially it's not a worry to you. Just start small, like I said, get the stuff you normally eat, whether it be pastas, rice, beans, stuff like that. Spices. Start off with, just start small, just get the stuff you need, learn about the proper ways to store food for long-term storage. Sorry, it's hard for me getting started again after having this whole thing. I've never had it fall off in the middle of a video before. I apologize for that. But hey, that's what you get when you don't, I don't edit videos. I'm just raw, real, I'm just me. I am who I am, and this is what I do. So, that's consequences. But, start off with things like a bug out bag. Do you have a bug out bag? Are you going to need a bug out bag? Hopefully not. I don't really, I have a bug out bag. I have lots of different bags. But what I have is predominantly what I use and what I rely on is my get home bag. I call it my get home bag. Because if I'm away from home, I need to get home, obviously. I need stuff in it that will allow me to walk. I think about walking. I don't think about the fact that I'll have a vehicle. If I have a vehicle, great. If I don't, okay, I'm ready for it. So put things in there, put things in your vehicles. Also, a little extra food, a little extra water, some supplies, basic stuff. Make sure you got a pocket knife on you. Watch videos about EDC, which is everyday carry, so that you have kind of a baseline on you at all times of you have some ability to do something. If you're into firearms, great. If you're not, watch some of the firearms, like my recommended firearms for preppers or SHTF firearms recommendations videos. Just watch other people's videos, practice, use your gear, gain knowledge, learn about foraging, learn about wild edibles, learn about first aid, basic medicine, how to use stuff. Get yourself an IFAC, which is an individual first aid kit. Start getting yourself some gear, for like tactical gear, for use in defensive situations or in a combative type situation. Firearms, ammunition. But like I said, don't get overwhelmed. If you're just starting off, just start off with the basics. Food and water. Alright? But really quickly behind that list would be something that gives you the ability to protect you and yours and what you have, aka a firearm. What would I recommend for a first firearm for somebody jumping into this whole thing? I would have to say handgun, because a handgun, is it a combative weapon? No, it is a secondary weapon system. It is not a primary weapon system that you want to take into combat. You know, regardless of what Hollywood does and everybody runs around with handguns into combat situations, that's a load of crap. You're not going to want a handgun in a combative situation. But with that said, a handgun is one of the most useful items you'll ever have, because you can carry it with you personally. You can conceal it. You can have it next to your bed. You can use it around your area for, I mean, you can even hunt with handguns. You can defend yourself with handguns. Stuff like that. So I think, whereas I would definitely say if you can get two, a handgun and definitely a rifle, an AR-15. But if you're just looking at your very first gun, I would start with a handgun. And basic introductory handgun classes. You have to know how to use it. And how to use it properly. You have to be comfortable with it. You have to practice with it. You can't just buy a handgun, you know, buy some ammo, some magazines, whatever, sit it next to your bed and call it good. You got to practice. You got to know how to use it. Just like food. I heard somebody, Midwest Prepper, was talking about a buddy of his, somebody he knows, that has like 800 pounds of rice stored. Great. Has it stored super properly. I mean, Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, buckets, in some kind of storage facility that is like climate controlled, everything. Awesome. But the guy's never ever cooked rice. Like, not just over a fire or like over a flame campfire. He's never cooked it on the stove. He's never cooked rice. You can't do things like that. You know, soldiers don't go into combat without training first. Athletes don't go into a game without training first. SHTF happens, that's game on. That's game time. You got to be ready. So practice with whatever you have. If you have a pocket, you know, maybe you're not experienced with knives. Get a knife. Get a pocket knife. Get a fixed blade knife. First things, learn how to sharpen them. Learn how to care for them. Learn about the proper edges. You know, the angles of the edges. You know, how sharp, how steep or how sharp the angle of the cut of the blade is. And why. What the different reasons are for that. What the different purposes are for that. Basically, the sharper the blade is like this, it's more for like a fillet knife or something like that. And it's very, very sharp, but it's not as durable. The wider you go, It's not as sharp. You can't get like that razor blade effect, but it's stronger, so that it won't wear down as quickly. It's more utilitarian. It'll do more the tougher jobs. So, yeah, medicine. Pick yourself up a box of Band-Aids if you're first starting off. A thing of rolled gauze. Maybe some 90% alcohol for use in cleaning wounds. Look at tourniquets. Look into tourniquets. They're about $20-25 for a good tourniquet. CAT, combat application tourniquet, soft T tourniquet, any of those. But when you're buying the stuff, especially tourniquets, make sure they're made in the U.S. They're not Chinese knockoffs. Definitely tourniquets. Other stuff, Band-Aids, who cares where they're made? It's a Band-Aid. Start small. Don't get overwhelmed with all these people on prepper videos that have all this stuff. And I talk about like homesteads and retreats and setting 4-point security and have cyclone barbed wire fences and tangle wire and motion sensors and night vision and squad tactics and a group of all these high-speed guys and farmers and machinists and doctors and all that stuff like that. Don't worry. Don't say, oh, I can't do all that, so I'm not going to start. You got to start. It's just like I correlate prepping to investing a lot of times. Investing, you have to start. Even if you start small, you got to get into it because then it snowballs. Now, I wish preps had the awesome effect of compounding interest. That would be awesome if your preps grew by themselves like investing does. Unfortunately, they don't. So you have to get what you get. But, and if you get that gun, buy a couple boxes of ammo. Have 100 rounds, 200 rounds if you can afford it. Train with it. Set some aside, some of your ammunition aside for food storage, for your preps. I call it food storage as a generic term. For your preps. And then the other for training. Definitely have some you train with, but don't train with your prepping ammo, and don't cut your training short so you can put more ammo in prepping. Training is important, very important. So make sure that you're training. This is a broad topic, but make sure you have good, high-quality clothing that'll keep you warm. Layering systems, good quality jackets, good quality like Gore-Tex or other fabrics that will keep you dry. You got to be dry, you got to be warm. Wool socks. Well, I love merino wool socks. But when you're buying, just kind of a side note here, if you're buying merino wool socks, if the company is just selling them and they say merino wool socks and they don't tell you what percentage merino wool is, don't buy them. Don't. Buy merino wool that is socks that are like 80 or 90% merino wool. Yeah, they cost money, but they're worth it. Trust me. Even if you want to get a pair or two to put in a bug out bag or to have in an extreme situation where you got to get out of the house and do things, that's fine. I don't expect you to have 100 pairs of, high-end merino wool socks. But look for a high percentage. I wouldn't get anything lower than, say, like 50%, depending on what you can afford. There's so many different things to talk about, people. Shelter. A tarp is cheap. Some cordage to tie it up is cheap. A hammock doesn't cost much money. There's your tent system, or a tent if you prefer tents. I like hammocks and tarps. Tarp over top of the hammock, slung between trees, you know it. But if you don't have a lot of trees in your area, like say you live in the desert, you can't do that. So where I live here in the Pacific Northwest, there's just trees everywhere. You'll see them on the side as I'm driving by. Obviously these are businesses, but there are so many things to cover, but don't get overwhelmed. Start a little bit at a time. Watch videos. See what works for you. Work on your strengths first. Build up a decent amount, a month of food or something like that before you start really worrying about other things. But a way to protect it is vital, important. Medical is important. It's all really important. I can't just say that any one thing is more important than the others, because it's not. But try to gain as much knowledge as you can by watching videos. Watch bushcraft videos. Watch survivalist videos. I wouldn't really watch those Hollywood shows about survival, because yeah, they may show some good things, but a lot of it's just done for drama. Just like that show Doomsday Preppers. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or seen it. I love that show because it talked about prepping, and it was interesting. It was comical a lot of times. It was entertaining, but every episode I usually gained like at least one little thing. Even if it was a little thing, it was an idea, a good idea. So take all that kind of stuff with a grain of salt. Any good prepper is not going to sit there and go on TV and show you all the stuff they have. I'm not. You don't know what I have. I never talk about what I have. I don't tell you how much food storage I have, how many guns I have, how much ammo I have. No way. Just like I'm not going to give you my home address or my phone number. Seriously? You know? But anyway, start small, do a little bit at a time, prep out of peace of mind, not out of fear. I say that all the time. You know, just do the things a little bit at a time. Food, water. Sorry, I'm starting to be repetitive. Trying not to be repetitive. I don't know what else to say. Just get started. Please don't wait. Swing by your store, your grocery store on your way home from work or on your way to work or whatever. Pick up a couple things. Set it aside. And as you start to buy some things like that, you'll start to see a little pile growing. And you're like, yeah, that's peace of mind. That's my preps, you know? Just a little bit at a time. Visit the outdoor section or the camping section of whatever store you go to. I don't shop at Walmart anymore because of the recent policies. I haven't shopped there since they started that whole thing about not being able to open carry in their businesses and not selling 9mm, handgun ammunition or 5.56, 7.62 by 39. I don't shop there anymore. I haven't. I've stuck to my guns, and we're not shopping at Walmart anymore. Am I still shopping at businesses that are anti-2A? Probably. I just may not know it yet. I don't know what their company's policy is. But we need to make a stand also for what we believe in. Stick to your guns, stick to your morals. Be a strong moral person. Spiritual preparedness is big. Trust in Him. And if you're not spiritual, well, just trust in whatever you find that you can trust in. That's important. Have good morals. Know that when things go south, you're going to be on the right side. You're not going to be part of the problem, you're going to be part of the solution. So, I don't want to put any more fluff in and stuff like that, make the video last longer. I think I'm pretty much got to the point. I said what I wanted to say. Please like, please subscribe, comment below. I love comments. Share the videos. Do the things, people. I love you guys, and blessings to you and yours.